Hi, this is Dr. Christensen. Today what I'm going to show you is how to feed your sourdough starter. We've talked a lot about the benefits of sourdough. We're not going to talk about that now, but simply show you what I do in my kitchen. And I've got some sourdough starter. It hasn't been fed for a while. The definition of feeding a sourdough starter is to simply give it more flour and water. Understand that sourdough starters are carboholics. They love carbs. That's what they eat. They convert the carbohydrate with the lactobacillus bacteria, that is your starter, into the usable leavening that we like to use with our sourdough. And so if you look at my jar, it's pretty gnarly. It's really well used. I've got a label on it. The sourdough start that I use is from Czechoslovakia, 1912. It's light, it's very mild, and it rises like nobody's business. We love this start. It was shared with me a few years ago, and I've literally given away probably more than 500 starts to other people. And so I'm about half full. If you notice my jar, I've got a rubber band around my jar, and the rubber band is what I use to indicate the level of the rise. And so when I mix it, and you'll see when I do this, the rubber band is at the level of the dough, and then when it doubles in size, I know that it's ready to bake with. And so this one is a little bit flat. What I do is I'm going to be baking some bread. For demonstration purposes though, today I'm just going to be dumping this into a bowl. And if you look at this sourdough start, it's fairly thick. It doesn't pour. It kind of just globs out just like that. Now, all I really need to do to start is just what's clinging to the sides of the jar. And so when I make bread, I glob this whole blobby thing into my pan and mix the water and the ingredients for the bread that I'm making. And so I've got my jar here. What I've got is some purified water here. This is water from it's zero water filter, and it's a nice water. It's important to understand that we cannot use chlorinated water. The chlorine kills the pathogens in the pipes. It will also kill your sourdough start. And so you need to have purified water. What I'm going to be using to mix with is just white flour. And so unbleached white flour, I simply pour that in. I know people are going to ask, what are the measurements? Roughly, it's 1 cup of water to a heaping cup of flour. But we're more interested in the consistency. And so I usually use a butter knife to stir it. And that works really well. You can use something like this. This is called a spurtle. And they're beautiful and they work really well, but they don't clean quite as quick and easy as that. If you look at this here, it's too loose, and so I'm going to add some more flour. You can use, as I mentioned, any type of flour. It just wants the carbs from that, and so it's getting a little bit closer. I'm going to add just a little bit more. It doesn't need to be precise or exact, but I do want it stiff enough that when it begins to rise, it's not going to fall in on itself. The consistency that I look for is about what I would call muffin batter consistency. So again, we look at this. It's kind of lumpy or globby. I'm going to add just a tiny bit more. And that's about right. And so it's roughly the consistency of this sourdough. And again, it's nothing you're going to pour. I've got it in here. You can look, not real well, but it's about the level of the rubber band. I'm going to raise the rubber band just just a bit. You can leave it on your counter if you're going to be making sourdough pancakes or bread in 6 or 8 hours, or generally it lives in the refrigerator. And we feed the sourdough start twice a week. It's really that simple. I'd like to just recap a little bit on mixing your sourdough start. Again, this is the most important component of your sourdough bread. If it's not bubbly and lively, your bread is not going to be to your satisfaction. And so again, the sourdough start needs to be fed at least once or twice a week on a bare minimum. It lives in the refrigerator. You mix the water with the flour till you have the consistency of about muffin batter. And so you look at this, and we want it to be able to bubble up and rise. We've got a rubber band around here so we know that the level that it starts at, so we can gauge that as far as how it's risen. If you're not making pancakes, if you're not making bread, you still need to feed it. And so what many of us do is we'll just dump it, in our case, into the chicken bucket that goes to the chickens, or just dump it out and then feed from what you've got clinging to the sides. The more you feed your sourdough start, the happier you're going to be with your end result. Again, we always use filtered water, no chlorinated water. That will kill your sourdough start. Feed it often, give it a name, love it, sing to it, do whatever you need to let this sourdough start know that you love it and your friends, and it will perform for you.